Welcome, everyone. Welcome to the Jamcracker live webcast, The Rise of the Marketplace-Driven Digital Economy. Today, we have a very exciting presentation planned. As part of today's presentation and discussion, the agenda includes an overview of the marketplace-driven digital economy, covering the market data, the market trends, and also a case study from CETA, a Q&A discussion, and this a brief demo overview of the Jamcracker platform, and also most exciting, a CETA marketplace demo from Darren. So before we get started, there are a few housekeeping items I would like to bring to your attention. In the panel to your right, you are able to ask questions, and at any time we encourage you to do so. Today, we have a very special guest join us. We have Darren Ash, Senior Portfolio Manager at CETA. We also have Ash Balagat, Senior Director of Product Marketing, and Bob Beliveau, Director of Sales Engineering at Jamcracker, as your presenters. So let's get started, gentlemen.
All right, thanks, Tony. This is Ash. Ash Balgat. I'm leading product marketing at Jamcracker. What we're going to talk about today is a topic about marketplace-driven digital economy, and we have an exciting kind of guest here who's going to share his experiences. Darren Ash, who's from CETA. We'll talk about what CETA does and things like that towards the end of the session. But let me walk you folks through what really is a digital economy. What is this digital transformation that we are kind of hearing about a lot more in the media, in some of the technology magazines and articles and social media, etc. Really speaking, there's an interesting article that came out in Harvard Business Review just recently that talked about how businesses are changing from pipeline-driven business models to platforms and marketplaces. And traditionally, when products are being built, or be the hardware products, software products, solutions around specific technology, what is happening is there's a whole flow of activities that happen that are value chain driven, right from procurement of a raw material if you're trying to build a hardware product, or doing a software development life cycle, right from the design development phase of it to the actual point where the product is built, adding value at each of these stages. And then there's a go-to-market activity, kind of the selling activity that happens, that follows through. And that's typically a sales pipeline-based model where you would, sell through your channels or through direct, reach to your customers, and you would derive the revenue that way. What has happened is lately, as you've seen, there's a lot more shift towards something called as a platform-driven, business model or marketplace-driven business model. And this slide specifically talks about that. As you can see here, there is a central piece here called as platform, which is owned by a company. And that is really the core technology or the core asset of that company, that it is, it's kind of really the core of its business. That's where the whole of the revenue or the strategy is centered around. And then there are set of APIs that are basically opening up certain parts of your core assets, be the key technology, your key algorithm that can be leveraged through an ecosystem of developers or ISVs as a community, and then those are really termed as producers. So at the platform, you're enabling certain pieces of your technology for the community of producers to build applications and services on top of your platform. And then on the other side, you have the consumers, who are basically your end users or customers who are consuming these products and services. So essentially, what is happening is a lot of companies now are thinking about how do I, instead of the traditional pipeline-based sales model or business model where I have to build a product and then sell to my channels, how do I make sure that I can create an economy around my existing set of, technology assets? And how do I open this up between two sets of constituents of ecosystem, which is the producers and the consumer? That's really an interesting shift in the market. I mean, you're seeing a lot more on the consumer side with companies like Google and Apple doing this, but there's a lot more. What people tend to forget is there's a lot of B2B companies such as Salesforce, Intuit, Avaya. There are a lot of names here that we'll talk about later in the presentation, who are all driving towards a platform and marketplace-driven digital transformation and digital economy. The other factor, key trend in the market that is also happening and driving towards the marketplace-driven digital economy is the cloud adoption. And as we all know, cloud is accelerating disruptions in pretty much every industry. I really feel interesting or kind of reciting this whole story that when Mark Benioff of Salesforce went down to Sand Hill Road for the VC to a bunch of VC firms and asked for funding for his startup, he was turned down, right? And nobody believed that cloud-enabled SaaS could be really or cloud-enabled business model could really fly. And today we are here looking at Salesforce.com making close to $2 or $3 billion of their revenue through the App Exchange and the SaaS offerings that they have, the CRM offering that they have. So cloud has really disrupted many industries, starting with CRM as one example. With the Amazon's business model in terms of really doing inside out, turning out their excess capacity in terms of the data centers and turning it out into Amazon Web Services as a business, or what Microsoft is doing with Azure in terms of really taking the existing Microsoft business applications, putting them into the cloud as a Microsoft Cloud Services program. All of these are examples of how many large enterprises, businesses are thinking and enabling themselves as cloud. And that's really important because if you look at the right-hand side of this chart, there's a lot of over-the-top competition that has come around for the traditional players in the market, right? And this over-the-top competition, what has happened is these are all cloud-enabled or cloud-born businesses. And what they're doing is they kind of a key business impact in terms of really commoditization of your products and services, erosion of your profit margins, and of course the revenues. And there's a lot of customer churn because there's a whole CapEx to OpEx shift that has happened, causing customers to consume the services on demand. All of this is leading to market share loss and really the viability, long-term viability of many of these businesses. So some of these are really important aspects of why people have to, and customers and the businesses have to think about adopting the new cloud-based business model and how marketplaces and the platforms can be really key drivers to enabling digital economy. This slide goes into a lot more details in terms of what are the business case drivers. This is fairly important for a lot of companies thinking through how do we justify that we need to go to a marketplace-driven economy, right? If you look at it here, competitive differentiation through an ecosystem is very important. As I talked about the HBR, slide in the beginning, you can augment your core technology products and and services by adding a value-added ISV services or third-party services or your own services for that matter. That could just augment, it's kind of a network effect, right? You give back to the community and the community gives back to you. So that's kind of an important aspect of really differentiating yourself in the competitive landscape and really having a faster go-to-market and time to market by bringing in innovation quicker and faster than your competition. That's one aspect of why you would really need a cloud marketplace. The second one is really adopting a cloud business model. We talked about that. That's a disruption that's happening. In terms of really transforming the current set of businesses, which are, maybe you're shipping the licenses or you're shipping the units of hardware, but now changing that into a cloud services-based delivery model. That is a very important shift that's happening in a lot of industries, and your marketplace happens to be that tool or the platform that enables commerce and consumption around your products and services that are cloud-enabled. Cross-selling opportunities, as you can see, not only can you sell your current set of products or services that are cloud-enabled, or there are value-added services that you have developed from the ISVs on top of your core assets. You can even develop complementary third-party assets or services along with your own key offerings. That helps you. I really look at it like an example of going to a McDonald's or a burger place, and you say, hey, you want burger, but you want the fries and drink with it as a combo, and it's kind of that bundling experience, as a cross-selling experience, that you can actually make a deal size that is much bigger. And that's another enabler, and that's another reason why you would be able to do a marketplace-based digital economy. Again, increasing the channel loyalty and profitability is very important because as you create more opportunities for your channels to consume more products and services from you, their margins would rather go higher, and they don't have to go to the competition to kind of earn more revenues. I mean, that's another way of building the channel loyalty. So a lot of these elements are kind of leading to some of the leading companies, the leading edge companies in terms of understanding the disruptions and positioning themselves for the long-term success. Salesforce is celebrating their 10th anniversary right now of their App Exchange, which is the marketplace that they have designed on top of their CRM platform. I'm just giving some examples here that are, there's many examples on the web. I just picked a few of them here. Intuit is financial services leader, and TurboTax, Quicken, some of the products that they got, they're all cloud-enabled and sold through their marketplace. Good technology for the mobile market. You folks have probably seen this before. Avaya, a recent case study that we have kind of talked about on our website, they basically opened up their collaboration platform called Breeze and created a snap-in store, as they call it, that basically allows folks to consume value-added collaboration apps and services on top of their Breeze platform. So that's an example of how the marketplace has really differentiated them in the collaboration industry, in the UCC industry. Konica Minolta is another customer of ours who happens to create an ecosystem around printing, doc signing, all these kind of businesses that they're in, and adding kind of more value to their core business through a marketplace. Panasonic has a business systems division which basically creates business, creates handheld devices, the point of sale devices, ruggedized mobile devices, or desktops for military applications, government applications, and they also created a application marketplace around their core set of products and services. Last but not the least, I here just cited a open source community called OpenStack. I'm sure everybody has heard of them, who's driving the cloud management platform as a community initiative, and they came up with their marketplace just to make sure that open source is driven and is at the same time commercialized in terms of economy around the marketplace. So with that, I just want to talk a little bit, shift the gears a little bit here, and talk about who we are, Jamcracker, and what do we really bring to the table here. Jamcracker is a company started in 1999. We have been founded for almost 16 years in this industry. We started our initial days where we started with this market called as cloud services brokerage, which is basically the term that we started working with is something that Gartner coined as a market, and essentially it enables companies to consume a lot of different applications and services on demand through a marketplace kind of platform. So we enable the marketplaces as part of the cloud services brokerage platform that we offer, and marketplace happens to be one of the key use cases of this platform. We have customer base that is both on a lot more on the enterprise B2B side of things. As you can see, many large companies, Fortune 1000 companies on the right-hand side, are all leveraging Jamcracker platform and Jamcracker technology. Also, we have a lot of service provider, telcos, distributors, resellers, SI, systems integrator. All of these are kind of other set of customers that we serve today. We have been a Gartner School vendor for bringing in really a cool technology to the market. Recently, Daryl Clemmer, who is the chief analyst for Gartner, also talked about us in some of the reports and some of the media about what we enable our partners, our customers, and our enterprise customers to basically bring in the cloud services through our Jamcracker cloud platform to the market. And he cited specifically that Jamcracker really brings a Swiss Army knife approach where you can handle a lot of these complex situations or complex problems of deploying your apps and services into the marketplace. So you're bringing that into marketplace that's all enabled through a very rich and very extensible cloud marketplace enabler platform, which is Jamcracker platform. Here's an example of some of the example of different services we can bring in. Again, these are more so of the third-party services, but like I said in the beginning on one of the slides, you can bring in your own value-added services on top of your core technology, such as Avaya, for example, or we're going to talk about CETA in a few minutes. So there's a lot of different applications and services that are all cloud-enabled in different genres or different categories. As you can see here, security, communication, collaboration, HR apps, CRM apps, and things like that. And all of these are all, some of it is aggregation related. Some of it could be in terms of really how do I give a holistic user experience between different applications to create a solution-centric user experience. All of those are parts of the kind of the key thought processes that go when you talk about a brokerage or a marketplace platform. We also support the IaaS services such as AWS, Microsoft Azure, Google Cloud Platform, IBM Software, VMware, OpenStack. I mean, it's a very rich platform, like I said in the beginning, with a lot of existing services or ways to add on new services as needed. A little bit about the key strategic, architectural blocks, building blocks for Jamcracker platform. Like I said, it's an extensible cloud platform, but what it does primarily is catalog management, self-service management or fulfillment so that your users can order on demand the services, products that they need. It's very much designed from a billing and reporting standpoint, so you can easily you have a lot of billing options. You can consume subscriptions, you can consume services based on usage. You can still do the perpetual licenses if you have a mix of things, or you're in the transition of moving from one business model to another. So a lot of different things are basically available for you, along with things such as operational things such as help desk ticketing support, tying into your existing IT systems such as CRM, ERP, etc. And of course, on the other side, being able to integrate with a lot more different products and services in the market out there. One key thing is the platform is designed in a way that it can serve a lot of different market segments. If you're selling it direct to your end customers, great. But if you're selling it through channels, be it the resellers, the distributors, the DMRs, SIs, whatever business model you want to basically offer, the platform goes into multi-tiered and multi-tenancy architecture, which allows you to be really flexibly deploy this platform into a lot more different use cases. So that's very important to highlight here. And with that, I want to hand over the control back to Tony, who's our moderator here, and talk about CETA, who's one of our customers, and Darren Ash. I want to welcome him back here.
Thanks, Ash, for this insightful overview of the marketplace-driven economy. I want to introduce again Ash is going to join us this morning, who's our special guest from CETA. Ash?
Hi, it's Darren Ash here.
Hey, Darren. Thank you so much for joining us again. This is Ash. Appreciate you taking your valuable time and really coming here to share your experiences of how the whole marketplace economy, how you guys enable that. So before we start, I just want to ask you some basic questions to our audiences or people who are spending time to learn about this whole topic, have a little idea about, who you guys are, what's CETA, so educate them a little bit about what CETA is and what is your specific role in the company and what are your charters basically as one of the key components or key leaders in CETA.
Sure. Thanks, Ash, and thanks for inviting me to be part of this webinar. So a senior product portfolio manager for our cloud platforms teams, which means I head up a team who deal with all of the product management and delivery related to CETA's own air transport industry cloud and the related services that we build on top of that, including our cloud services, marketplace, and our API management platform. So a bit about CETA. We're the leading provider of IT and communications globally to the air transport industry. So we're not that well known outside of the air transport industry really, but we are 100% owned and driven by the industry. Nearly every passenger trip relies on some part of our technology that we've either developed or we have in place to support the industry as a whole. We support just about, give or take, just a few exceptions, but almost every airline and airport in the world in some way interacts with CETA's network or with the services we provide. And we're specialists in air transport IT only. That's all we do basically. Almost 3,000 customers globally. We're in 200 countries and territories globally as well. And 70% of the world's top 20 airports use our services. Our portfolio is very broad and diverse. If you just move on to the next slide, Ash.
Yeah,
so
I think, yeah.
So basically, our portfolio is really broad and diverse. The business we run incorporates communication and infrastructure, airport, so that's the the passenger management, baggage management operations within the airport itself. A lot to do with passenger management and distribution of data, border governance, border management through our government program, our in-flight connectivity via SITA on air. So, for example, many of you, I'm sure, will now be using wireless on the plane. So a lot of that is provided by SITA. Cargo management, so the shipping of cargo from from the airport onto the airline, onto the aircraft, and then down to the courier at the other end. And then finally, sort of billing and revenue management. So our whole portfolio is incredibly diverse.
Perfect. So great. I think it looks like you folks are really touching pretty much every major airport and every major airline that's out in the world, as I can see, with 200 plus customers. That's probably where you guys are. I want to talk a little bit about specific products and services in this air transport industry that basically you have currently available, and really what prompted your move to marketplace-driven digital economy.
Yeah, so as I've already mentioned, our portfolio is very diverse. The air transport industry cloud that we started developing in from 2010 onwards basically touches almost every element of those different services. It provides the infrastructure through which many of those services are delivered, and as part of that, we have a very collaborative and open relationship with our partners and often competitors who benefit from our global reach, but we also benefit from the partnerships that we deliver with those partners. So more and more we're finding that as we develop those relationships, our customers are coming to expect a slightly different experience from us as a provider. So they want us to be the enabler of many of these different services. They want us to be able to, in many cases, front the relationship with a lot of these different smaller providers globally. And also they are starting to expect much more of an e-commerce experience, particularly for the lower value subscription-based services that they've got used to buying through things like the Salesforce App Exchange. So our customers are starting to expect a similar model to the one they get with those sort of innovative thought leaders. As an example, before committing, they often want to kick off a trial or a small proof of concept, which commits them to less upfront before they consider rolling out across the rest of the organization. And one thing that SITA is very good at is dealing with big, large contracts, big customers, big implementations. But what we found over time is that really more and more of our customers are looking towards the smaller transactional approach, and we often at the moment sort of deal with them in exactly the same way. So we'll deal with some company like Air France in exactly the same way we would do a smaller airport, for example, in the Maldives or somewhere like that. Secondly, we work within our own internal software divisions and our partner software vendors who've been looking for new ways of doing business, and particularly dealing with the thousands and thousands of smaller businesses that operate within the air transport industry across the globe. Now, often those software vendors are using our APIs, and then they're developing their own cloud services and applications around them. So we saw an opportunity to take advantage of those industry changes, the need for simplicity, the growing commoditization of services, the coming of age of cloud API proliferation, and deliver a platform through which we and our partner ISVs, our software vendors, could promote and sell products, and somewhere where our customers could research new services, contract, purchase, and manage those product transactions online.
Perfect. So it sounds like it's a shift to the cloud as one of the key drivers for your adoption of the marketplace-driven economy, plus the fact that you had a great reach, which you wanted to also extend to your community of developers that can sell value-added services on top of your developer API, developer.io API platform. Is that
exactly
fair assessment? Perfect. Okay, great.
Yes, absolutely. It's key to us.
Perfect. Okay, and how did you justify? And I'm sure it has been any change that happens in organizations of your size. I'm sure it has to be justified quite a lot with a lot of different, points and kind of in terms of really showing the value of why you want to do this. What is in it for some of the stakeholders. How did you justify the business value to your internal stakeholders to get the buy-in to pursue this vision?
Yeah, I think that's never easy, particularly within a company that's as global and dispersed as CETA. Decision making can take some time. It was a very lengthy process, and it involved many different iterations of the business case, which involved us moving from many perpetual licenses to a subscription-based model. Capex to OpEx, classic move that many of us in the IT industry are looking to successfully implement. But I think what you have to demonstrate is the lasting business value in adopting this platform approach. We're very fortunate in having some senior members of the senior management team who understood the concept, and that we had to build our partner and collaboration networks, because that's what CETA has always done within the industry. We had to take that on to the next level, and we also had to look at new and more effective and efficient ways to engage with our customers. So we're already underway with our API strategy and our cloud program, so that helped. So a number of those related elements came together at the same time. But basically, it was a very iterative approach for us. I would recommend, before you get anywhere near the numbers and the technical aspects of what platform you're going to use and how you deliver it, you need to build a story around the platform and the program, and sell that internally. But honestly, I don't have any magic answers to that question. It's building a business case and getting internal buy-in is always going to be painful.
Got it. Okay, great. And then, one of the things that we hear often is that, okay, many companies think that, okay, we need to enable ourselves for cloud. And what I've seen, or what I've heard or read on the internet is, people think that, enabling yourself cloud could be just a matter of opening yourself with APIs, or giving access to your, external folks to access your assets. Now, I know you guys had that approach too in the beginning, but then I see that you really took the next step to actually having a marketplace driven economy. Now, help us understand why the initial, just opening up the APIs, wasn't that sufficient enough, or what really prompted you to really take that step to enable commerce around your marketplace, of your APIs too, and the platform too?
Yeah, I think that APIs are sort of critical to what we do. I mean, we provide, and our own APIs provide huge amount of information across the industry. I mean, we transfer huge amounts of data between all the different parts of the industry. So things like security wait times, flight information, weather information, gate status, all of those things. We made a decision a number of years back to basically provide those in an open format to our customers. And then also software vendors then became involved and interested in that. But that's just part of the picture for us. It's we want those software vendors to be able to build applications and build services, cloud services based on that API data, and then have a place to promote it, and that's where the marketplace came in. So for us, it sort of didn't just end at the APIs. It was about building, a solution ecosystem around the API, around the application, around the service provider, and around CETA as the community provider in the middle.
Got it. And can you say a little bit about your experience as to how Jamcracker helps you guys in this particular, initiative?
Yeah, I think that the process we went through was quite lengthy. I think that the good thing about the Jamcracker platform is that it provided us everything that we needed to get ourselves started, and we knew that we can then build on, rather than us having to integrate a new billing and rating component, a front-end marketplace, catalog functionality, pricing functionality, all of those things. That's wrapped up in a single service. It also gives us the ability to support not just sort of out-of-the-box software as a service APIs, public cloud SaaS, but also legacy applications that that the air transport industry is built on those. Not everything is software as a service, and I think Jamcracker's flexibility in providing us the ability to connect those type of apps and services up in a subscription-based model, was perfect for CETA.
Perfect. So it sounds like you guys did an API. You didn't just stop at the API. API is not the be-all and end-all for you guys, but you enabled also third-party applications that are not really integrated directly with your platform or based on your platform, but can be complementary to the end customers along with your set of product services, and then enabling that through Jamcracker as a common services fulfillment portal. In this case, of course, the platform is there, but then the front end is more like a portal, so it's easier for the end customers to consume these products and services on demand under different terms, such as usage or subscription and things of that nature.
Exactly, yeah.
Perfect, great. So when you guys took up, so one thing is to have a grand vision, but I think I always find that it's always daunting to actually do the execution of your vision, right? When it comes to the point of actually the rubber meets the road, you get a lot more kinks and a lot more issues down the line to execute on this grand vision of enabling a digital economy to marketplaces. I'm sure you folks have also gone through that challenge. So can you help us understand some of the challenges and hurdles your team faced during the execution stage of your marketplace offering that as a to your customers?
Yeah, and I think that whenever you're introducing something disruptive like this into an organization like SITA and any organization that has a certain critical mass, there are challenges, and to an extent we still face some of those challenges. So internal buy-in across all of our departments and divisions was difficult at times. So, as an example, this project touches, the way in which sales take products to market. It has effects on how we bill for systems. So you're having to, speak to the billing teams, the finance guys in accounts receivable, for example, because it definitely affects the way in which they collect money as well. So there were, legal guys, tax guys. There's a lot of individual components for us to put in place, and therefore chasing around and trying to get all those things in place was quite a tough piece of work. So I would recommend that really what anyone needs in this type of program is top-level buy-in, at CIO, at CEO level, to help drive this type of disruptive platform through, because people never like change to the way they're doing things right now, and that's why it really needs some clout at the top to make these things happen.
Great to know. Okay, great. So the rocket ship is launched now in terms of really getting the Airo marketplace out, and we're going to see that shortly as well towards the end of this session. But in terms of the current adoption of the marketplace, can you help us a little bit understand what that looks like, and what do you see as the future kind of the potential for this initiative?
Yeah, so it's early days, but early signs are encouraging. We've already had lots of registrations and interest from our small to mid-sized customers globally. It's helped us to engage with a whole range of different airports and airlines, like regional airports. I mentioned the Maldives earlier on, but I don't think the guys in the Maldives would be speaking to us if we hadn't been able to deliver them something really, really quickly, and the products and services they wanted quickly via the marketplace. And a whole range of other services, globally, the customers globally. So it's good. I mean, it still needs a bit of work. But our partners are very keen to get on board, and we're developing our API strategy at the same time. Our development teams are producing those APIs. We're seeing software providers then building apps around them, and then we're looking to monetize those apps as well. So there's huge potential for this project to expand SITA's reach into our new customers, to manage transactions better, and just build that platform approach within the air transport industry as a specific vertical.
Perfect, great. So it's really exciting to hear all the experiences. I just want to take this a little bit further up here and cite your experiences in terms of really launching this initiative and really executing and following through it, and really embarking on a mission here. Any final words that you think that marketplace-driven economy, how it is really changing the game in your specific industry, and what are your thoughts, maybe if you can extrapolate what you're thinking and how this may be applicable to the other industries as well? Because, I mean, air transport industry is one example. I'm sure there are other industries probably which can also benefit through your experiences.
Yeah, I think that even in the air transport industry, which is, it's highly regulated, very understandably, and therefore it can be very slow moving, it is sort of quite bureaucratic for very, very good reasons. But even within the air transport industry, in that type of industry, very traditional, we're seeing the need for new ways to deliver applications and services to our customers, new ways that CETA need to be able to approach our customers. So not relying on the big mega deals that all the guys are chasing internally, but also to deal much more effectively and efficiently with the transactional subscription-based monthly-based services. So for me, that type of scenario and the convergence of cloud, APIs, mobile is forcing traditional IT companies to address their customer relationships differently. And we're no different to that, and I don't think any other vertical is different either. So, yeah, I'm sort of passionate about this area, and I think it's absolutely going to be a big part of what CETA do in the future.
Perfect, great. So I really appreciate Darren. That was really awesome. I really learned a lot from you on this particular, session in terms of understanding your experiences. Thank you for sharing those words of wisdom. We'll keep it in our back pocket, and I'm sure a lot of our audiences will also find this interesting. So with that, I want to hand it over back to Tony.
Thanks, Darren and Ash. This was very exciting and insightful. We will have Bob will provide a brief demo overview of the Jamcracker platform. Bob, take it away.
Thank you. So I'm going to do a demo for you here. I want to just briefly talk about the requirements for a platform to run your digital marketplace. Right. At a minimum, you're going to need a few key functionality. One of which is you need the flexibility to define the look and feel of your customer portals and the services within them, right? You need to brand it your own way and offer up those services the way you feel comfortable with. You need to easily onboard new products and offer them to the right customers, right? Not every product necessarily goes to every channel. Maybe you're operating in a multi-tier distribution model. You need to be able to manage the customers and provide them role-based access control so that they have control over what their end users can do. And of course, you need to manage the business, right? You need to manage the transactions, the invoices, any subscriptions you're offering. You need to be able to handle different pricing models, whether it's like a monthly subscription or an annual term. Maybe it's usage-based services. You want promotions, bundles, tiered pricing, quantity-based pricing, and of course taxation. Right? These are all the various business aspects that you really need to handle at a very minimum. You might also need globalization support, for things like languages, currencies, and the taxes in those jurisdictions, obviously, time zones, date formats, etc. These are all functions available on the Jamcracker platform, and if I had more than a few minutes here, I'd show you all of that, but I only have a few. So let's talk about the services and applications, right? And so a digital marketplace might be serving up any number of products and services. They could be infrastructure-based services running on Amazon, Azure, that sort of thing. Could be subscription-based services like Salesforce.com, Office 365. Downloadable apps for PC or mobile platforms. Really any definable service. I mean, CETA is a good example, showing things that maybe you don't think of off the top of your head, but very specific industry services and products. You need a platform that really helps you to manage all of these services, and it needs to be easy to be able to define those services, define the look and feel of them, and the pricing and provisioning models. So let's take a look at one of the tools that Jamcracker provides for. That's called Jamcracker Connect. With this tool, here's where you're going to come in and manage and define what I call the marketing fluff. But it's the names, descriptions, and just over here on the left, you see your logos, different subscription plans that you might have. Maybe it's a monthly offer. It could be an annual, quarterly offer, those sorts of things. Any system requirements, FAQs, sort of other auxiliary information. Could be some attachments or links to videos, those sorts of things. And then, if you have a large catalog, you obviously want to manage that into different categories, subcategories, etc. That's sort of how it's presented out to the user in terms of the content, all the content that the user sees when they're making their decision. You'll also need to handle the order flow. So when onboarding these services, sometimes it's a service that you buy only one of. That's all it really makes sense to do. Maybe it's something where you need a minimum quantity, those sorts of things. And so you need some options to handle those different things in the shopping cart. You need to be able to specify the license agreement and how that is handled. And you might also need to be collecting information from the end user where, you know, it's something that's important for the service. In order to provision the service or something, you need to collect additional information from them. So you need to be able to handle all that as part of the onboarding process. And then, obviously, for services where automation is key, where you're trying to either spin up virtual machines or you know, add new companies or users to a Salesforce or Office 365 subscription, you need to be able to handle that. So you have various provisioning options, maybe on a global basis, giving control over how does it get automatically assigned, those sorts of things. But then you have provisioning events. You know, when spinning up a software as a service, for example, you need to be able to maybe create your client company, manage that company, create the users, manage the users. And then for each of those events, you need to be able to handle the provisioning of that. Now, if those services are API-driven, meaning they can be controlled by API, great. Then you can run through an automatic adapter development, basically, and have the platform point at an adapter URL with credentials and passing the specific parameters to that, so that when a new user needs to be added, the platform needs to go and talk to that end system, provide the information needed to provision that user, and give you the responses to confirm that. There might also be, you know, it might be manual. I mean, it may be something that's not API-driven, and in a manual method, you'd really use more of an email-based approach, where you send an email out to a provisioning team, give them the information that they need, they receive the information, do whatever they need to do, swivel chair to provision up the service or to, you know, send the truck roll, whatever it may be, and then give them the ability to click the link in that email to tell the system that it's been provisioned, right? And so whether you have the API support or not, you need a platform that's going to be able to support both of those models. And then for any sort of web-based services, obviously single sign-on has a lot of benefits. And so you want to be able to support different single sign-on methods, different, you know, specifying the parameters that are needed for that single sign-on event to occur. Now, after running through all this and having that service created, you really need some meaningful submission and approval workflows for the services. You know, a typical example might be testing in a sandbox and then approval by the marketplace owner. You know, in this regard, the specific workflow requirements of marketplaces will differ, so you need a platform that's flexible enough to accommodate either a simple or more complex flows for those submission and approval, and the Jamcracker platform provides that. Okay. And now let's go and look back, into the screen here, back in the Jamcracker backend. So let's assume that we have those services onboarded, created, and that's what I'm showing you here is a list of those services. You know, you need to define within the platform the pricing for those services. Now, you might have done that as part of the onboarding, or it might be something you do and have a part of the tool based on the fact you have multiple stores and you want to define different pricing out to different resellers and all that. And so let's take a look at something here. Let's look at Salesforce. I can type, that would work. There we go, Salesforce. So we'll take a look at how that service could be provisioned and specified and priced out in our platform here. So here, looking at, you know, the service information tab, here's that sort of marketing fluff that I was mentioning earlier, where you talk about what the service is offering up. This is the information presented to the user when they're making their decision. Then you have the SLA or the click-through agreement and the categories, all that stuff that we've seen in that onboarding tool. And then here are some of the offers. In this case, there's only one offer provided up, but you can imagine, you know, monthly offers, annual terms, etc. And within those offers, that's where you define that pricing. And the price could be just one set of prices out to all the customers, or maybe it's more set up to accomplish sort of different levels of resellers. So maybe you have gold, silver, platinum resellers that get different pricing levels. But you also need, obviously supporting different subscription models, whether it's pay-as-you-go, pay-per-use, pay-per-user, all those things. Depending on the type of service, there's many different options that you'd be seeing in here. Looking in here, maybe this unit price description for Salesforce, that's each is a license that you're going to be buying. There's minimum quantities, and this should be charged on a monthly basis. You might charge it a different term, that sort of thing. You might have setup fees charged, and whether or not you want to prorate. That first month today, you want everything terminating on the same date, so they prorate to that billing date, or do you want to have them independently have their own terms? So you have some flexibility to support all of that. You also need to really manage both your cost and your distribution pricing for that across the different currencies. Here I'm showing you a few different currencies. This would be the cost from the application provider to your marketplace, right? So maybe it's $15 for this on a monthly basis will be due to Salesforce with maybe a $10 setup fee. This is just an example. These aren't real prices, obviously. But then you also, after specifying that in your cost, you then want to say, okay, what am I going to offer this out to the stores at? So if you're operating a multi-tiered distribution model, then you'd want to have a wholesale price out to those stores. Maybe set a minimum retail price, could be that price or higher, as well as a setup fee. You might also need to specify the taxes for each of those currencies in those jurisdictions. So that's sort of like the standard pricing out to the resellers. You might also want to, like I mentioned, have different prices for different resellers, so different levels. So whether you just want to have it, special resellers get special pricing, you search for their name and specify all those parameters or to update those parameters for them. That's one way to do it. But there's various options there in order to handle that in a multi-tier distribution model. Now, after defining the prices that are available to those resellers and maybe to those customers, those end-user customers directly, you also then need to specify where do you want that service to be offered. Maybe you don't want to offer Salesforce to everybody, or maybe you don't want a security product to be offered in certain regions, right? And so the ability to be able to restrict where that's being sold, specify the storefronts that that's going to be offered up to, and by selecting a store here doesn't mean it's going to appear in that store. That store owner needs to make the decision on whether they want to have it and what pricing do they want to offer that. So this makes the service available to those store owners when they're shopping through your marketplace and looking to find the different services that are available to them, and they can choose to maybe resell or not. Okay. So after looking at that specific service and sort of standard pricing, you also think about other things like I mentioned, promotions, right? Maybe you want to have a 45-day free trial, that sort of thing. And maybe you want it starting on a certain date, running for a certain, over a period, you have a trial of a certain length. And there are various aspects to these trials that maybe you'd want to specify. Obviously you have the names, the descriptions, and all that, but how long it's going to last, the dates, whether or not you want to collect payment details. Is it something that's going to terminate at the end and start charging the user after 30 days? Unless you cancel, you're going to get charged, like so many TV offers on TV, but you have that, or maybe you just terminate. Maybe it's just a free trial, and at the end it just ends. And so you need the flexibility to support both of those models. Lastly, let's take a look at managing the customer and end user pools, right? And so with your marketplace, if you have the ability to create multiple storefronts, these could be owned by end users, large end users, directly, whether it be a Coca-Cola or that sort of type of company, a large enterprise, or there could be resellers that are offering up those stores. I'd like to choose this AD Enterprise test. This is an example showing, I think, some things that are very interesting. You have URLs and different logos, those sorts of things, the regional settings for that. In this case, I've only set up English in this marketplace, but it could have multiple languages, and I would set the default. You could have multiple languages within the same store to offer. Maybe in Canada, French and English are both required. You set it maybe a default one way. Then you have the policies. These are all the other pages around the storefront that you need to have, the privacy policy, contact us pages, all those other pages that really support a and then the store type. Is it going to be a reseller store or an enterprise store? Again, you want to be able to support customers directly and also through a reseller. But if you're supporting things in an enterprise, there might be some additional features and maybe just term changes for an enterprise that would be different. Identity management is an important piece here. Maybe the platform itself should be able to handle the users and their roles and everything out of the box. But you might also have a single sign-on architecture to work with, or maybe synchronizing with Active Directory for a large enterprise example. So you want something that's going to give you that sort of control and allow you to do that. You want to be able to specify the services. These are the services that are made available to you. You can pick the services that are available in your store, that sorts of thing. Communicating with your customer is important, and customer email notifications need to be customized for each storefront, and you'll want the different return addresses and signatures to be supported, as well as the templates for all of the different types of events that you need to have and support in that storefront. You want to be able to have nice, tight control over that, especially the marketing folks who take branding seriously, that sort of thing. From a billing perspective, the platform needs to be integrated throughout the billing, so not just the pricing and the services, but how's the billing going to be handled? Are you going to use a payment gateway and collect credit card information? Is it just going to be a pre-approved credit or a PO sort of model? It could be PayPal, it could be ACH, those sorts of things. You want to have financial approvals and different approval workflows for that, those sorts of things. I think I'm running out of time here. I see I'm getting the signal. These are a lot of, I think, the things that are important when it's an storefront. You need that flexibility to give you the ability to address different markets, both direct customers as well as reseller model. And hopefully, in this few minutes I've had here, I've been able to give you a good taste of that. So with that, I think I'm handing it back to Darren. So let me go ahead and do that.
That's great, Paul. It's really, really awesome demo of the platform. And so I think now, Darren, if you can just show us how using Jamcracker platform, how CDA's marketplace looks, basically customized for your own industry, for your own customer set, that'll be really great.
Okay, no problem. Thank you. I'll be very quick because I know we're short of time, but just sort of to give you an idea of how we've developed on top of or taken the standard Jamcracker platform and delivered our own store. So we have a landing page here with two stores. We've got a US dollars and a euros store, and this is our community page where we'll basically provide lots of in-platform information about the community, about the program, about the APIs that are available, developer.aero platform. But then we also here advertise the sort of recently added services and partnerships that we've pulled together with different providers. So I just already logged on here into our US dollar store, so we'll just give you a look at the panel approach. So this is our catalog of services so far that are available, but we're adding more and more over time, so customers can just sort of scroll down here and just see all of the different services. Now, pretty much most of these are sort of air transport industry specific, but we do have some other sort of more generic line of business stuff like the Orange Business Services products that we're going to start to add to the marketplace. So if we look here, we can click on View Offers. This is a piece of software that deals with airport safety and operations compliance, and it's never really been sold in this way before, in the sort of e-commerce style. But as an example, we've got a Airport IQ small airport here, and that can be added to the cart for it's a $1,500 a month, and it's a very simple licensing model. It's literally per license per airport per month, so a nice simple one. But we can provide lots of information, some screenshots here, features and benefits, all that good stuff. We also have integrated an online chat systems. So basically, if you need some help from our sales team, we can provide that. And we can also provide in here some more complex billing models. So this one here is a messaging system. It's one of our own systems, and that has both a recurring fee on a monthly basis. It has a usage-based message fee. It has an attachment allowance a routing or email address, and also an option product called Skyfarm, and all that's been built into the platform. So if I just show you our EU store here as well, we can see an example of another billing model that we use via this really cool product called GenAcre, which is a piece of software that runs on a smartphone and turns it from into a walkie-talkie, so that ground crew can communicate via their smartphones in that way. So again, we've got here quite a detailed price plan. So we've put this supported tiering. So you've got your your tiering levels here, which are fully supported by the connector. Now, if I take a quick look here in my cart for this particular instance, we'll see that I've already got something in my cart. So you're taking customers through the sort of standard shopping cart experience they might get with Amazon or some other service like that. If I click check out here, I can then, we've integrated all of the terms and conditions, so the customer can come through and review all of those terms and conditions. Often we have customers who will require us to sort of provide a PDF as well, and we can do that offline as part of the process. So I won't take that any further, because obviously we'll go through a buying cycle. Once customers have ordered, they are then also able to get all of their invoices via the platform. So we provide one single invoice on a monthly basis, which is from SITA. So we are basically acting as the distributor, of the reseller of these services, and the customer will receive a single monthly invoice directly into their portal that they can receive on a monthly basis. So I think, given the time, I think that's a whistle-stop tour of what we've done. I'll maybe pass back to you, Ash, and see whether you've got any other questions.
Yeah, just pass it back to Tony, if you don't mind. Okay.
Oh, yes, of course, sorry.
No worries. Okay, thank you. That was really great, Darren. Really interesting demo of your marketplace, and really happy to see that you really addressed a lot of different pricing options and all kind of different apps. Your own apps, your third-party enabled app, your ISV-centric apps that are opened based on your APIs. It's a very nice combination of a lot of different product services that are all adding value to your own core business today. It's great to see. Okay, Tony, go ahead.
Again, thank you, and thank you. We do have a few questions here from our participants, but with limited time, we can only answer a few of them. And I think this one is particular for Darren from the way it sounds. What were the business drivers behind your marketplace initiative?
So the business drivers were very simple in a way. So one was that we needed to deal much more effectively and efficiently with our lower value or our customers who maybe spent less with us and were buying sort of a lower value products. Secondly, we needed to be able to support rating and the usage-based billing that our sort of enterprise billing system wouldn't really deal with. So that was important. And then also it was a community aspect of building a platform that we could, promote lots of different ISV services and continue our role as, in the center of the air transport industry.
Okay. I think we have just probably answer one more because of limited time. Does your billing capabilities support usage and subscription-based pricing?
It does with Jamcracker. So Jamcracker does all of the rating for us of the services, and it supports. You can either have data passed to it, or just as flat files, or we can do API integration with a particular software provider. But importantly, our billing system currently wouldn't really be able to cope with that level of rating. So although we use our billing system to create the invoice and pass the data back into the core systems, it's the Jamcracker that does all the heavy lifting when it comes to the rating and metering. Okay.
With that time, time is up. So I want to do sort of a key takeaways from the presentation, but from both Ash and Darren and Bob. Brief overview of the Jamcracker platform. So what we have heard so far is that the marketplace-driven digital economy is very much a key differentiator for companies, and enterprise that are transforming to a cloud business model can use marketplace, for their current set of products and solutions. And also, this Gemcracker platform does enable the marketplace, driving traditional pipeline business model to an ecosystem and enabling different type of models, from licensing to billing and commerce option. For this webinar, this was a very exciting and very insightful presentation. And also, I want to thank Bob, Darren, and Ash for this insightful presentation, and thank you all for attending this webcast. If you'd like a copy of the presentation, please email us at information@jamcracker.com. Again, that is information@jamcracker.com. And also, please check back with us next month for our next upcoming webcast. And thank you again for attending. Have a nice day.